Hello everyone, and welcome to another day of NGS action. Before I start though, thank you very much Hoku for the 2 months. Thank you. But to get back on topic, it is going to be Division B East for game 1 of today, and then in a few hours we will be going over to B West. But the first match of the day is Protectors of Aiur versus Équipe. Now, for Équipe, this is their last game of the regular season, and this could be an important one because if we take a look at the standings, Équipe currently at 31 points, sitting in first place. And what makes this most important is right now, if they win this series, no one can catch up to them. Being able to have that #1 seat is possible for them. Now, Protectors of Aiur, they've only played 8 games, so they do have 2 more matches left. They could climb the rankings as well. They're guaranteed a spot in the playoffs, but it's all just going to be seeding from here on out for both these two teams. So it's really just going to be pride on the line, because we've seen before, once the playoffs start, there's no such thing as an easy matchup. Every team shows up ready to play, ready to win. And now the map pick and ban has already come through. The coin toss was won by Équipe, and they decided on first pick as well. So map pick did go to Protectors of Aiur. They banned away Brax's Holdout and Battlefield of Eternity. Équipe banned Garden of Terror and Cursed Hollow. The map #1 is going to be the Dragon Shire today. And I mean, I don't think I need to say this. Been a ton of fun watching this map for the last couple casts now. It has been a bit of a break for me. Like, for everyone that's unaware, I have been mentioning it a bit, but I am in the middle of a move, so still going to be inconsistent for the next little while. But today we're going to have that double header.
Dragon Shire.
And as I say that, we are immediately heading into draft #1 between Protectors of Aiur and Équipe. Now for Dragon Shire, it is still typically the meta to have the offlaner in the top lane, and then the bottom 2 lanes getting split by that 4 core. Typically they'll have like 1 player go between the 2 lanes, and always trying to have multiple members down in that bot lane. But what's going to be super interesting about this draft is, like, we've started seeing so much creativity on this map. We've seen 1-3-1s, we've seen 4-0-1s, we've seen 3-1-1s. So we're just going to have to see how these two teams do play it out. But first few bans have already started coming through. The Oriole banned away by Équipe, and the Stitches banned away by Protectors of Aiur. And I don't think that's too surprising. Stitches is pretty good on Dragonshire, and Stitches, whenever there's a player that can play it and likes to play it, you have to change how you play, and it's really difficult to practice into it because the teams you would practice into the Stitches that are at the same level as you are typically the teams you're going to be playing against, so no way to really practice it without getting thrown immediately into the fire. But Joanna going to be the second ban coming out from Équipe, just trying to get rid of that front line. Joanna's super good at just sticking onto the shrines, holding it for days on end. And the final ban is going to be the Chromie for Protectors of Aiur. Now, I'm wondering what kind of team compositions both these two teams are going to start looking at. Malthix is going to lock in the Anduin first. Pretty safe first pick. Can be really strong defensively with that Holy Word Salvation, or the Dome, as it is so often colloquially called. I think I'm using that word right. I don't know book words. But with the Light Bomb, also super good at playing aggressive, has Leap of Faith, and it doesn't really show anything for the draft because Anduin is very flexible in terms of play styles, very flexible in terms of how you want to play it. But with that being said, Protectors of Aiur, they're going to get their first two picks as well. It's going to be Falstad for E-Day 15 and the Anubrak for Eplectic. And the Falstad's going to add a little bit of a global presence. And this is one of those maps where Frequent Flyer is actually a pretty solid talent, getting that infinitely stacking attack damage. Easy to go between the mid lane, the bot lane, and just get a ton of stacks, scale super well. Falstad scales ridiculously well, really regardless of the situation. Now Tychus and Murden going to get locked in for Elega and a Rebirth. So that should be pretty interesting as well. The Murden obviously going to be giving a pretty easy combo for that Light Bomb to pair with Malthix. And Tychus, pretty strong overall, I'd say. Not the best in terms of taking down an Ubrak. And when I say not the best, I mean can't really utilize that minigun passive. But even without it, Tychus is a really solid pick. So really going to be able to bring out a ton of damage in this game. As Tassadar are going to get banned by Protectors of Aiur, and an instant Stukov ban coming out of Équipe. So there's going to be 3 healers removed out of the pool, the Ando, the Stukov, and the Oreo. I expect Protectors of Aiur to pick their healer now. And with the Anubrak pick, I wonder if they're going to go something maybe like the Rhaegar. I think that could be a pretty solid pick for them. Brightwing could be good as well if they want to keep going with globals. But no, it is going to be the Rhaegar for Sergeant Scoops and the Greymane for Pina Colada. And they have a lot of DPS already. Between Falstad and Greymane, they're going to have more than enough damage. And Anubrak's really good at trying to set up that single target dive. Just trying to clear out whoever. Not quite as good as the pickoff as Varian is, but is a lot more flexible in how that's played and performs slightly better in team fights, though at the cost of safety. But now it's going to be Thrall for Trad and Kira for Mesos. So that's going to be a pretty interesting lock in there. Either of these two heroes could go into the offlane. I do suspect it's most likely going to be Mesos on the Kira playing offlane unless they're doing some more funky stuff on the side of Équipe. But the Sound 51, who, by the way, huge shout out to the Sound 51, has been doing so many replay casts recently. Got to give shout outs where it's due. And with that, we'll be able to get the final lock in, the Urel. And I've noticed the Sound actually really likes playing on the Urel, and it does bring a lot more frontline. Actually, Urel might even be tankier than the Anubrak, despite technically being the offlaner, whereas Anubrak is going to be the main tank. But pretty solid, pretty normal team comp coming out of for Protectors of Aiur. I think they're going to scale really well, especially with the Falstad with the Greymane. They're going to have really good single target, but Équipe, they could definitely start playing pretty aggressive early on, and I think that's going to be their strat. But either way, let's get started with game number 1. All right, and we are loading into Dragonshire, map number 1 between Protectors of Aiur and Équipe. Now, I am really interested to see what talent does E-Day go. I kind of think that the auto attack build might actually be the best one for this game. There's a lot of just duelists on the side of Équipe. They have the Thrall, they have the Kira. And while they could get decent amount of damage just from that Hammerang build, as it is going to be the frequent flyer locked in after all. And I think that's the right call. I think that regular auto attacks are going to scale a lot better into Muradin. They have not a triple front line because it's really just going to be that solo tank. And everyone else is just going to get absolutely blasted by those auto attacks. But now the well going to get thrown out immediately from Malphix. But neither side wanting to go forward yet in that level 1. As now the waves are finally going to crash. Both sides are going to continue with it. The Sound 51 just jumping in, trying to clear out the wave a little bit. As Elegant just trying to get some damage as the righteous hammer from the Sound 51 going to prevent the play. But right now they have been taken down. They've been low. But no more Ravenous Spirits coming out from Trad. But the Sound 51 gets taken down super low. Yeah, just going to have to Hearth. That's going to be a pretty solid start for Équipe. They're going to be able to just push out into the Urel, but obviously with the Hearth, with the Mount, should be able to get back into lane soon, but not even going to be needed. E-Day 15 is there to cover. But now Équipe, they're going to start pushing out the mid lane, and they have their tank already in the bot lane as Mezzo's trying to throw out the Carnage. Not going to be able to find a good target. They'll collect their Soak and just immediately get started on their siege camp. A little bit of trading over to the top side as Trad just dueling with Sound 51, and it's so difficult to play in the 1v1, but it's a team game, so Trad gonna get hit by the Impale, and even with the Ravenous Spirits, not gonna be able to get away. First Blood going over to Protectors of Aiur. And I think that's how they should be playing this game. When you have the Falstad, when you're into the Thrall in the offlane, 1v1, the Thrall will always be able to beat the Urel on the Sound. And Mezzo's here, pretty much the same story, honestly. 1v1 should be able to win it to the Urel, but I mean, regardless of who they send in, 1v1 is always going to favor Équipe. But once the Falstad gets into play, once the rotations start coming into play for Protectors, they should be able to win out on it. As now it is actually going to be both of them in the top side, Mezzos and Trad. Level 4 is going to be there. Mezzos going to throw out the Carnage. Just a little bit of damage. A little bit of a play happening in the mid lane as well. But E-Day 15. Sorry. The Sound has 51. E-Day has 15. They're just reversals of each other, you know. But does have the barrel roll just to get to safety as Rebirth. Getting zoned out from the wave. Going to have to take the long way around. The Sergeant Scoops and Pina Colada just trying to get that wave in. They have the siege camp pushing already. The one that Équipe got has already been taken down, and now both top and bottom now in favor of Protectors of Aiur as Rebirth just jumping and just trying to zone away. Well, the siege camp and the minions actually dealing quite a bit of damage over to these structures. This bottom cannon tower is starting to get pretty low. But Rebirth already going to be standing and will be able to retake the shrine, but now they're going in and they're going to be able to take down Elegant. Now Eclectic also starting to get a little bit low, but has that shield coming out, has that Carapace. And that's going to be another kill going over towards Protectors of Aiur. And they're just going to be able to have full control over this bot lane shrine. It's so difficult right now for Équipe to walk up. Pina Colada dealing a lot of damage. And I haven't had a chance to talk about it, but it is going to be the Viciousness town from Pina Colada. So will be more of that auto-attacking hero. But now they're looking to take the first cannon tower. They're going to be able to take it down. That's going to be a little bit of extra experience going the way of Protectors. And Rebirth now going to Dwarf Toss in. Does have the armor. Will be able to buy a little bit of time. Impale going to land as well. As Pina Colada starting to get decently low. Mezzo's coming in from the backline as well. The Carnage only going to land on a Eclectic. Revolving Sweep not going to matter because the cleanse is there. As E-Day almost getting the lock-in, but not going to be able to. But now Trad and the Sound 51 are fighting. But there is a Falstad on the way. 7 stacks so far, so not too much yet. But, I mean, there's nowhere for the Thrall to go. And it's going to be a kill going over to Protectors of Aiur. 3-0 now for the entirety of this game. Now, Eclectic actually almost got taken down there while we were watching the top lane fight. But will get pushed away. Elegao and Mathix are going to be here. Rebirth is holding control of the Dragon Shrine. And now with that play going on, both Bruiser camps are still available for the teams to take, but neither one wants to be the one to walk forward. Overkill just going to get used to push out the lane, poke away Sergeant Scoops just a little bit, not too much. As now the bot lane in full control for Équipe, but now they're leaving. They have their siege camp available, and they want to be able to take that back in their favor. And 2 seconds, and now the one for Protectors of Aiur is also going to be available, but they're looking to the top side again, and Mezzos with the revolving sweep, going to be able to buy a little bit of time, but will still get taken down. And I think this is exactly the strategy the Protectors need to play. Whenever there's a duelist in the offlane, you have a Falstad, you have an Anubrak, you're so good at taking down single targets and moving around on the map. And that's exactly what they've been doing. They're just going around to the top lane, just kind of bullying Mezzos and Trad, whoever happens to be there. But now Ecliptic looking to hold on to the Shrine, getting traded back a little bit by Rebirth, but with the Dwarf Toss, going to be used defensively. Road Charge not going to land. Impale will land onto Rebirth, though, but that's not the target they want. As Eligard trying to dash forward. And it will get retaken again by the side of Équipe. Mezzos is here as well, so it's the 1v1 on the top side, and Trad will be winning the 1v1 against the Sound. But again, there's the Falstad. E-Day is there. Flight is available if they want to use that. But now Red Team has full control of the Dragon Knight, but it's going to be difficult for them to be able to walk forward. And Ecliptic's here, E-Day's here, and most importantly, the Heroics are available right now for Protectors of Aiur. They will be able to press that forward, and now as the Impale lands, but Leap of Faith will be there. Same with the Revolving Sweep, as neither side really able to get forward, as the Carnage dealing quite a bit of damage to E-Day, but Sergeant Scoops has that chain healing, will be able to keep E-Day healthy. Now just a little more minions, and Équipe will be in a good spot. They will have that level 10. So both sides now have their Heroics. And actually Équipe, they're going to pop the Odin, okay. And they're just going to immediately get pushing onto this wall and try to get as much damage as they can here. Now, it is still a pretty early Odin, still level 10. Not going to be dealing too much damage to these structures yet, but this entire wall should get low. But now the Cocoon gets used. E-Day gusts everyone into the wall. And now Light Bomb trying to survive for the fight. Revolving Sweep as well and Carnage. And now they're going to have the stun onto everyone. Ancestral Healing heals one. Malthix still staying alive, buying so much time. And Sergeant Scoops gets stunned up. Same with Pina Colada. Pina Colada actually going in. We'll be able to trade back. And now it's 2 for 2. Mezzo still looking for the kill. Sergeant Scoops will get finished off. It's a 3 for 2 in favor of Équipe. Their first kills of the game are a team fight that they managed to come out on top of. And now the Sound 51 still holding the top side. Rebirth jumping in. Has the Avatar still popped from before. But again, with E-Day there, it's going to be so difficult to actually get onto this objective. But now Mezzo's going to be here trying to get in the way. And the Hammerang just going to buy enough space. And it's actually pretty funny because you only really get that Hammering Talent when you are doing the auto attack build, but that extra range is actually so beneficial when it comes to preventing someone from channeling onto that. But now the Sound 51 could be in a bad spot, is mounted up. Trad low on mana, as the Sound just gonna jump over and will be able to get to safety, as now Ecliptic managed to catch the tail end of that, gonna be taken down in the bot lane. And without the main tank, without the main engage, could be a little bit difficult to hold on to this wall. But I don't think Équipe will be able to take the Dragon Knight in the mid lane, though. They're definitely going to try. Rebirth is going to be here as well. And they have full control in both the bot lane and the top lane. Mezzo is actually going to be able to finish channeling this. So the first Dragon Knight going to be coming in for Équipe. And all it came from is just a one team fight and then the one pick-off right after. And with that, they will start pushing out this mid lane on the Dragon Knight. But Odin popped in the bot lane. Rebirth, Malthix, and Elega just all pushing as hard as they can. Now, the Odin is going to expire now. With Pina Colada looking towards the bot lane. But again, while that's going on, the Dragon Knight is pushing. Mezzo's just getting so much damage onto this wall. Going to finish it off in its entirety. And now with the fire, E-Day starting to get low. Looks like they're trying to bait out a fight, but Protectors Aiur, they're not going to walk forward. Rebirth still trading onto Ecliptic. There's a small wave there, but that is kind of the issue of the Dragon Knight. As far as vehicles go, as far as overall objectives go, is on the weaker side in terms of tankiness. It's very easy to take down the Dragon Knight if you're able to actually walk up to it and start DPSing. But now Pina Colada going to get punted away, and that'll give Bezel some time alone with this middle fort. I don't think it'll go down. There's only 5 seconds left, but it's definitely going to get taken down quite low. And with these 2 walls gone, with these 2 forts getting poked down pretty heavily, that's definitely still a win for Équipe, though I'm sure they would have loved to have finished off one of those structures in its entirety. But now bot lane going to be getting pushed in. Level 14s on both sides, but Équipe going to be taking the slight XP lead there. As Mezzo's going to be working on the Siege Camp, and Ecliptic and the rest of Protectors of Aiur did just take theirs. But now the Bruiser Camp, though, is going to get taken by Protectors of Aiur. And Équipe not answering this quite yet. They were kind of pointing towards that bottom bruiser camp, but I think they were a little bit worried after the siege camp went down. The protectors would all be coming back to the bot lane, and then it would get a lot harder to take. But Aiur just going to be starting on the solo for it. And with the healing from Malthix should be more than enough, especially with the well overkill on top. Divine Star to keep them healthy as Rebirth, just kind of trying to hold that bush. Trying to create as much safety, create as much space. And now the bruiser camp is going to go down, and this could be the start of a fight. Trad gonna be able to land the Ravenous Spirit only onto Eclectic, but now there's 5 members strong here. It's 4v5. They have the Sun Ring to buy a little bit of space, and the Gus throws Malthix into the bot lane. And now Rebirth is going to be here, gonna get taken down, but Ide is going to be the first one to go down, and Malthix actually going to survive. It's a 4v5, but now the Stormbolt lands onto 2. Sergeant Scoop's trying to run away, but Rebirth looking for it, has the stun, and one more hit. Sergeant Scoop's able to run away, but Eclectic is left behind and will get taken down instead. It's a 2-0. The bottom fort is gone, and they have a pretty solid wave here as well. They have the bruiser camp, they have the siege camp, they're all walking forward. And the grenade gonna land on to Pina Colada. They have the root as well over the wall with the Chastise. And it's so hard for them to clear Ravenous Spirits as well as Aiur with the overkill just trying to poke down. Pina Colada has the well to heal up a little bit, but that's going to be the bot keep wall down as well. Now it's going to be difficult for them to walk any further forward, but this is a massive victory for them. And Mezzos also has the push in the mid lane and won't be able to take it down, but it's still going to be a decent chunk of damage over to this middle fort. As Trad may have walked a little bit too far. Ide trying to chase onto it, but we'll be fine. We'll be able to just back away. Mezzos now getting jumped upon. The Carnage onto the Sound 51 as the revolving sweep not going to be able to land. And now there is just trading 1v1. Ide is going to be here as well, but so is Eclectic, and so is a lot of members. And now the stun going to get canceled, and the lightning rod from Ide going to be able to get the final kill. And now they do have the cocoon. Light bomb only going to land on the Sergeant Scoops. Do they have any follow-up? They have the Stormbolt as the Sound 51 throwing them into the wall. Trad will be able to jump away. Pina Colada getting body blocked a little bit, getting stunned up, and will get finished off. It's 1-for-1 now. Overkill going out over top of everyone. But it looks like it will just end without 1-for-1. But again, Équipe, they have the passive push in the bot lane. This will be a bit more permanent damage onto that bottom keep. And now Aiur still walking forward, just DPSing onto the Sound. Look at that damage. I was talking about earlier in the draft that the minigun not going to be able to have max value into the Nubrak, but into the Urel, it will be doing quite a bit of damage. And now they're going to be able to retake the Dragon Knight, going to be the second one of the game, and the second one's more powerful than the first. It should just be a couple of hits, and the mid lane keep, or mid lane fort, is going to be gone. And now they're walking that over to the top side. The Sound 51 trading with Trad. But again, Malthix is here, and Trad will be able to just get healed all the way back to full. Now the Sound's going to get pushed away. Odin popped again. Aiur just going to be able to push this down. The wall not going to last for too much longer, but the Dragon Knight also getting poked down. But Eclectic trying to go forward, and now the Ancestral Healing is going to keep them alive. The Gust into the backline. Mezzo's not going to be able to land the stun, as Trad just fighting into the backline. Will be the first to go. Ardent Defender is there as well, and the Sound 51 still healthy, but Eclectic starting to get a little bit low and won't be able to get the punt going through. But Mezzos looking for the play into the backline. Rebirth gonna be able to dodge away on the stun, but Mezzos with the Carnage just looking to trade, but there's just nowhere to go. Righteous Hammer into the wall, and that's gonna be another kill going the way of Protectors of Aiur. It's gonna be a 2-for-0 for them, but there's no objectives on the map. They could try to push into the mid lane, but that's the only wave they really have, or only lane they really have a wave in. But right now, it looks like they're just going to push through the bottom. And that is one of the advantages of having that in Nubrak. You're able to just spawn in the Scarabs, and you can take whatever you want. And then on top of that, I even forgot about it, but the Totem from Sergeant Scoops. They will be able to retake the pressure in the bottom lane. Now, they're still going to be losing out in mid, but with this siege camp as well, they will be able to close that level gap pretty much in its entirety. Still a slight one towards Équipe, but shouldn't really matter as we head into the later game. As actually, I didn't really get the chance to look at this, but that's half of the bottom keep's health gone. So it's even more crucial that they were able to take down the fort, and they will be able to remove that passive pressure coming out of Équipe. But now everyone has respawned, and we're back to 10 players on the field, as Équipe going to be taking that bottom bruiser camp as well. and it will help them have that passive pressure as the entire side of Protectors of Aiur just pushing in that top lane. And I'm wondering if they're thinking of just going for this fort as well, and it seems to be the plan. And they do have 3 Scarab, Sergeant Scoops, and Pina Colada. They're all here. Trad is there as well. I don't know if they can actually stop this, though. Might even be dangerous to approach it. I actually think Trad needs to get away. But the Sound 51 going to use the Righteous Hammer into the wall. But Trad will be okay with that Ravenous Spirit. But again, while they're pushing in that fort, Odin going to get popped in the bot lane. Now, Ide does have Wind Wall. Could buy a little bit of time if needed. But the big red button dealing so much damage. And the Wind Wall will be used to give the team some time to get back and defend into this. But with the Bruiser Camp there, I think Lafina Keep, even into 5, they can try and push this in, but looks like they are a little bit worried. The Sound 51 coming in from the side. So will be a little bit of more poke damage onto the Keep, but not going to be enough as the Storm Bolt going to catch the Sound 51 in the middle of the jump. Curse Bullet going to land as well. And now they want to fight for this bottom shrine area, but they should be able to retake on the side of Protectors of Aiur. Lafina Keep's okay giving it back. And a little bit more damage onto the Keep, actually, from the remnants of that Bruiser Camp. But now, there could be a fight happening in the mid lane. Mezzo's starting to get into a bad spot and almost gets taken down, but does heal up. Ardent Defender already popped up. Light Bomb not going to land onto anyone, but Mezzo's in the backline. Going to be able to stun onto Pina Colada with the Carnage. Not going to be enough. Pina Colada still going to go down, but he's starting to get low. Rebirth just jumping on top of everyone, but the Righteous Hammer from the Sound 51 trying to peel, but it's not enough. The Sound 51 will get taken down, and it's a 3-for-1 in favor of Lafine Keep. And now they will be able to retake the Dragonite for the 3rd time this game. And this bot lane fort bot lane Keep very not healthy right now. And actually they could even look to try and end the game through this angle. It depends how confident they are, but there's still 30 seconds on Ecliptic. And that's the first player to get back. And now they are just going to be walking forward, just trying to deal a little bit of damage. Malthic's trying to keep the team alive as Ide just trying to deal DPS to them as much as possible. The lower health they are, the less of a chance they have to end here, but the Dragon Knight is going to be there, and it does look like the end of the game is what they're looking for. The cleanse is going to come through. Big red button as well, but the core is getting attacked. Ide trying to buy some space, but Light Bomb there, not going to be able to land. Ide 15 just still auto-attacking. Wind Wall going to keep everyone else away, but Elegar and the Dragon Knight all just DPSing as hard as possible onto the core. And I don't think the damage is there from Textures of Aiur. Lafine Keep, they will be able to do it, and they will be able to win game number 1. Very close game. Protectors of Aiur got a very, very solid start. They were able to use those good rotations. They were able to pick off Trad and Mezzos multiple times in that off lane. But at the end of the day, Lafine Keep, they just were able to push quite a bit better. The Tyke is super powerful in those situations. And their team comp was just so much better at the Death Ball. And with a couple of team fight victories, they were able to push all the way in, control the Dragonites, and win game number 1. Now we're going to go to a short break, but when we come back, it'll be game number 2, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone, and welcome to a pretty rarely seen map, actually. We are going to Sky Temple for game number 2. Now, Sky Temple is a pretty fun map because this is one of the few maps where you never technically ever need to get past the halfway point of the map. You never need to go onto the enemy side at all. But that's kind of what makes it interesting. Now, for a while, this was the map that I never really got to cast. I believe all of Season 18, I didn't get a single map on Sky Temple. And then Season 19 was till much, much later before I could actually cast on this map. And I believe this is going to be my second or third time overall ever in NGS, which, if you know how much I've been casting, you know how rare it is to see this map. But either way, I digress. The bans have already started coming through, and it's going to be the Oriole and the Anduin banned away by Équipe. And Protectors of Aiur gonna be banning away the Chromie. And their second ban gonna be shown to be the Muradin. And I think that makes a lot of sense. I mean, Rebirth was able to get in the middle of everyone basically all of the time, able to provide so much pressure. As Falstad gonna be the first pick for Elégar. And note, first pick was on the side of Équipe, so this is gonna be the map picked by Protectors. Now, frankly, I really enjoy Sky Temple. I don't enjoy it as much as a caster, but as a player, I find it so much fun. It's so relaxing. And overall, it's a lot safer to contest. If you're able to just zone away and able to take control that way, it's so much easier to play the game. And Joanna for Ecliptic and Dahaka for the Sound, those are both... Ooh, sorry. Those are both heroes that are really good at that. Joanna can easily hold one of the locations for a lot longer than most other tanks. Dahaka can both hold and use Brush Talker to get over to the other side of the map. So if the Sound's able to take control over one of the... I'm not even sure what they're called. That's how often I cast this map. The Shrines, I guess? I don't know. Can just Brush Talker to the bot lane immediately after and just join in on the fight. Turn that into a 5v4, whatever's necessary. But Tassadar are going to get locked in for Mezzos and Brightwing locked in for Malthix. So that's going to be 2 globals on the side of Équipe. So they should be able to have a bit more ease navigating the map this time around. The next set of bans is going to be the Anubrak for Protectors of Aiur and the Vala for Équipe. They're trying to get rid of that hard carry. And I think that's a good ban, especially when there's picks like the Joanna, like the Dahaka. Typically, you want that with a hyper carry in the backline. It's a very safe front line to play with. Dahaka can just kind of survive in the back line, no problem. Just trying to kill the enemy team's carries. Joanna can just peel for days. But they're not going to show everything quite yet. It's going to be the Rhaegar again for Sergeant Scoops and the Hanzo for Pina Colada. And I think that's going to be a pretty solid pick for them. It will give them quite a bit of range when they're fighting. But I would still like to see another damage dealer coming out from Ide, but they typically do play damage anyway, so it should be good. But Équipe, they still need their front line. I think they have enough damage, especially depending on the build that Elégar goes, but gonna be the Garrosh and the Thrall. So again, going for that single tank. Thrall can offlane, don't get me wrong, but is very gankable. But this time around, Protectors of Aiur, they don't have the tools needed for it. They don't really have any globals besides Dahaka, and if you really want to get technical, Hanzo gets one at level 20, but I don't think that's the idea there for that Dragon Arrow. But Lunara, actually going to be the final pick for Ide 15. I actually really like the Lunara. It's going to give a lot of damage over to Protectors of Aiur. I think that's what they were lacking. Lunara is going to be a true carry, and should be pretty good at taking down the Garrosh as well, just able to kind of bounce and prance away. But that being said, we're ready for game 2. The draft is done. But before we head in, quick shout out to the sponsor of this stream, Legend of Mushroom. And here's what I got for you. All right, and welcome back. And that was Legend of Mushroom. Download for free in the panel down below or the link in the chat and help support this stream. Even just installing the game helps me bring more of these wonderful casts and most importantly, most of these wonderful games to you. Well, with that being said, game number 2 is starting, and it looks like both teams are going to be starting towards that mid lane, though. The watchtower does look a bit juicy, and we're even seeing some pings over towards it. And the flight actually going to get used immediately by Elega. And it is going to be the Hammerang build, so ED15 going to take a little bit of a poke there. And that's going to be 2 stacks going over to Elega right off the bat. And with that watchtower in their control, it's going to give them a little bit of extra vision. It's going to let them know about the rotations early on. And, for example, it's going to let them know that the Sound 51's already in that top lane. I kind of cheated tempo. They're willing to give away that mid lane pressure first. But right now, Équipe, they're going to be first towards the bot lane, and they do have the Garrosh. And Garrosh definitely wants to be that playmaker, definitely wants to get into the back line, but not going to be able to find him. But Ecliptic going to get thrown, but with the Contem actually landing onto 3, might have been good for Ecliptic to have that Wrecking Ball into the back line. Gives a nice little engage angle they typically do not get on the Joanna. Now, siege camps are spawning. However, it looks like Équipe, they're just going to walk towards the mid lane instead, get that pushed down, and Rebirth will be able to get the final few hits, as both sides are going to be working on their siege camps. And it's also important to note that on this map, getting damage even on the wall matters so much. Because those lasers from the temple, that's what they're called, not shrines, temples. It's Sky Temple, of course it's temple. But regardless, getting any little bit of damage onto these walls, onto these cannon towers doesn't matter. If that means it's 1 less hit from the temple, from those little lasers, that means it's 1 less hit. That's 1 more hit that's going to go towards the core. It's going to go towards the fort, the keep, just whatever other structures behind. As Pina Colada actually going to get polymorphed and walled off, but they don't really have any more follow-up towards that. Pina Colada, again, still going to be just sitting up in the front, trying to buy as much space and time as possible, but lot of damage being dealt to this bottom wall. Already most of it gone. It's just still about 3/4 of the cannon tower left alive, as Rebirth was over in the mid lane, could have been looking for a play. But during that, Protectors of Aiur, they did take the Bruiser camp. They're looking to push in with that, but it's just going to be the Sound 51, and Elega is going to join up with Trad, just give a little bit of extra space so they can clear it away a little bit faster. Sound 51 cannot walk forward with this, but Ecliptic is going to be here, has the Condemn on a Trad, and Trad getting taken down a little bit low, but was very close to the wall, so can just walk right through the gate, no problem. But now Mesos and Malthix finishing off their own Bruiser camp. And haven't talked about this yet, but it is the Shockray build coming out of Mesos. So will be that big burst Tassadar coming in this time around, as a couple stacks for Ide. Gonna have that scatter arrow building up. And now Malthix is going to be the one sitting over to the bot lane. As speaking of the bot lane, that's a lot of structural damage. And now they do have 3 over the top side. Trad is getting jumped upon, but again, with the Bruiser camp, is a lot tankier. Having that spell armor actually helps quite a bit. But Rebirth is looking forward. Hasn't used the Wrecking Ball yet. Will throw it onto Ide now. Now they're jumping onto Ide 15. Lot of damage. And that's going to be first blood going over to Équipe, as Malthix coming in with the phase shift. And now they've already gotten a couple laser shots from Mesos in the mid lane. As now Pina Colada getting chunked a little bit. But Ecliptic's here, but so is Rebirth. And it looks like they want to take control of both of these temples. And now the Wrecking Ball for Ecliptic getting hit into the wall and getting slowed. But the Iron Skin will be there. Will be able to just back away. Mesos just trying to sit on top of Ecliptic, as the lasers are still dealing damage to both these lanes. Being able to take control of both these temples is actually so big on this map. And that's going to be the entire top lane wall gone. Decent chunk of damage over to this fort, as well as the last 5 hits going to come through there. And the last 5 hits have already come through in the bot lane, but now the stasis is there for the Sound. Phase shift coming through for Elega. Mesos just trying to get a little bit of damage over top. Currently at 25 stacks on that static charge. And for the other main stackables, it is going to be 10 on Simple Geometry, 17 for Gathering Storm. And then, oh, the Wrecking Ball is going to throw them into the backline. But now, again, Ecliptic just going to walk forward, going to tank another Shockray from Mesos. They're not going to take too much damage for it, but overall, big victory right now from Équipe, getting 2 of those. I think they got both full temples over into the enemy. And now Ecliptic gonna get hit into the wall, gonna get thrown into the brush. Will should just back away. Rebirth was just kind of doing it for poke, for the positioning. As Aiur just trying to get a little bit more poke onto that wall as well. As Pina Colada is now here hammering. Not landing onto anyone quite yet, but again, slowly but surely getting those stacks up. Already 2 stacks on enhanced agility as well. So eventually we'll have that quest complete, as well as the Wrecking Ball not going to be used. And now Ecliptic into the backline. Rebirth getting poked down a little bit, but the force wall just going to split the fight into 2. Neither side going to go fully into the other. But now Rebirth actually taking a lot of poke. And between Ida and Pina Colada, they had more than enough burst damage. I was not expecting them to be able to just tear through the armor that the Garage had there, but it's a pretty big kill to get. And they have 4 members here. The Psionic Storm, though, from Mezzo's buying a lot of space. Ecliptic trying to walk forward, but not going to be able to get too much damage onto this fort. But that's the entire bot lane wall gone. The fort still takes a decent amount of poke, and they're actually ahead when it comes to the bot lane push now. As Ecliptic walking forward, they do have the heroics available. And now the leap strike coming through, but Pina Colada may have gone a bit too far. And Malthic's actually going to get that hit, going to get that kill. And now they have level 10s as well. And Protectors of Aiur, they lose their member just as the temple's now available. But now Trad could be in a bad spot. The Thundering just going to try and buy some time. And it doesn't look like they're going to continue chasing on. And with the Watchtower there, Trad knew that he could just walk backwards, mount up, and they will be fine. But now they're looking towards the Sound 51. Mezzos there as well. As it looks like Protectors of Aiur, they want to start playing forward as well. Wrecking Ball just going to throw Ecliptic away for now. The Sound 51, Brush Talkers into the back line, but Shockray lands over top. Neither side going to get hit too hard yet. As Ecliptic just standing to the front line, will be able to use Iron Skin, but the Dragon into the back line. Rebirth getting taken out a really low. Phase Shift has come through, and the Hammering just doing so much damage. Ecliptic barely going to be able to survive, and First Blood actually going to be on the Brightwing. But now the Archon has already been popped. Sergeant Scoops takes another hit into the backline, but will survive. Now the HP bars are definitely low on the side of Protectors, but the chain healing is perfect for that. Because all the damage has been spread, this is one of the best spots to be the Rhaegar in. And now they will be able to retake control, and they should be able to get the last few hits out of this. As a Pina Colada gets thrown into the backline and will get healed up 100 HP. But Mezzos and Rebirth just not having enough damage even with that fort. Speaking of, there is no more fort. That bottom fort is gone. Now there is a bit of a push in the mid lane. Trad going to get a little bit of extra poke into that mid lane fort, but that's still going to be the first structure down in favor of Protectors. And as Trad walking forward into that top lane, trying to get this pushed in as well. But Pina Colada already going to be here. Ravenous Spirits not going to land. Pina Colada could look aggressively. Ecliptic is here off to the side. But it is difficult with that Watchtower. So Ecliptic is going to get spotted out now. As now Trad is getting jumped on. But actually the Sound 51 getting ganked in the mid lane. Whenever I see a Haka getting ganked, I just usually choose to ignore it. Most of the time, nothing really happens. But that's going to be a pretty big kill for Équipe. They're going to be able to take the siege campaign. This bottom fort is super low. They could just walk forward and brute force it. And they may not even need to. They already have so much damage coming through from the siege camp. But they will anyway. Elega will tank it for a little while. But with a blink heal, with the extra little bit of pulse healing from Malthix, will be fine. But now with that, the structures have been evened out. Both sides just losing out in that mid lane, as the Hammer's not going to be able to dismount Rebirth. And the mid lane push is going to be there for Équipe. Shockray not going to be able to scout out Ecliptic, but Ecliptic doesn't really have an angle to play aggressive either. And once again, Trad and Aiur just going to be doubling up in the top side just to clear the Spruce camp. And I actually really like that move coming out. But now the Sound 51 also getting ganked a little bit. It is Mezzos, so no crowd control is available there. Psionic Storm just going to spot out the Sound 51, but the Sound's in a really bad spot now. Will throw out the Stasis, and now the Polymorph's going to be there. Ravenous Spirits as well, not even needed. So Mezzos will be able to get that kill, and I think with that, they should be able to just push in this top lane keep. They don't need the temples But the boss, in the meanwhile, getting attacked by Protectors of Aiur. Rebirth trying to walk forward, but not going to be there in time. But now they could look to fight, but not going to be able to quite yet. The Dragon Arrow has already landed. Sundering is there to split the fight into two. Caloric starting to get a little bit low. But Pina Colada just going to be able to back away. But that will be the boss pushing out into the bot lane. And they're going to have to deal with that on the side of Équipe. And the Sound 51 has respawned. I believe, yeah, does have a Brush Stalker available. So they're really not even short players. But Ide getting poked by Rebirth. Just trying to prevent that gank, because I haven't mentioned it quite yet, but but the Simple Geometry challenge is complete now. So Ide gonna be powerful, gonna be able to scale up pretty well into the later game. As again, Rebirth just trading with Pina Colada over in the mid lane, as now Illegar fighting with Sound 51. Sergeant Scoops is there as well, but Sergeant Scoops could be in a bad spot as Rebirth is there as well, and now with the Wrecking Ball. Not going to be able to throw them into the back line. Now the silence has come through, but the isolate doesn't matter. They're able to take down Sergeant Scoop. And now the Sound 51 and Ecliptic, they're still there, still trying to trade, but not going to happen quite yet as the 5 final hits coming through hit the mid lane fort. And Pina Colada and the rest of Protectors of Aiur, they're looking to just brute force this down. Sound 51 walking forward, looking for this. But now, meanwhile, the Sundering got to buy a little bit of space. Ravenous Spirit's not going to be able to land, unfortunately. The movement speed that the Hakas get will always bring them back to safety. But during this, Illegar still poking down onto this mid lane keep now with these lasers, dealing quite a bit of damage. But again, that's the beauty of Sky Temple. You don't need to push forward. You don't need to care about the wave management for every situation. If you're able to just take control of the temples, that's enough. That's all you really need. Eventually, you will be able to win the game. As now Malethics and Rebirth just holding out onto that mid lane. Mezzos getting started on that siege camp. As the entirety of Protectors of Aiur, except for the Sound, are going to finish off their own. Rebirth now going to be scouting, looking for Pina Colada. Groundbreaker not going to be able to land. Neither will the Shock Ray. Now both teams just backing away. 130 stacks on the static charge, by the way. So this poke is going to be pretty strong. I even hesitate calling it poke at this point, because now it's just a big damage nuke. It's just that big burst damage that could, in theory, come out of Mezzos in these team fights. And I do expect to see a little bit of a lull in the play. It is Sky Temple, so there just isn't really any reason for either team to play aggressive. Both have their level 16 talents. Level 17 is already there for Équipe. Protectors of Aiur are going to get theirs now. So they're just going to walk around, collect their camps, push out their lanes as they wait for the next set of temples to spawn. Now it is going to be bot lane and top lane. And I believe in Équipe, if they get the full bot lane one, that should be a keep down for them. As Sound 51 looking aggressive. Ravenous Spirit going to land on a Ecliptic. But neither side wanting to pull the trigger yet. And now the Bruiser Camp is available for Protectors of Aiur, and they are going to get started on that. But Équipe, they already have theirs out. They already have a pretty stacked wave. So they could take advantage of this and take the temple immediately. Have the inside track for it. It'll be a while before this Bruiser Camp can really respond. But right now, Équipe, it looks like they're just going to send Trad over to collect that mid lane. And maybe eventually match with the Sound 51, but this is why you pick the Haka on a map like this, because the Sound will be fine just standing here alone, not even going to lose any health, really. And as long as they can contest long enough to delay on the top side, they can always send the Sound 51 right back in and take those extra 5 hits at the end. But if they're able to start a fight earlier, it could be in the benefit of Équipe, and it looks like they are starting. The Sundering's there, and the Sound 51's already here as well. And now Rebirth starting to get low, has the Unstoppable, but it's going to be the healer going down first. Rebirth is going to be second. Protectors of Aiur so far a 2-0, and that's all they're going to get for now. But that's still a massive teamfight victory for them. They have control of the top temple, but they did give up control of the bottom one. But that's still a couple laser shots coming through. The Sound 51 going to get a little bit of extra damage over to the bot lane. Now Flight does get thrown out by Illegar. This could be decent for Équipe, but now they're in a bad spot again as Mezzos and Trad. Ide just jumping in. Archon going to get popped, but it doesn't matter. Mezzos is gone. Leap strike onto Trad, just waiting for the DPS to come through. One more auto just for fun. And that will be another kill. 4-0 all day in favor of Protectors. And now they're pushing in that top lane. Elegar was able to take the bottom keep, but now needs to get back to defend this top keep. Will have the tank, will have the healer back up. So this is defendable. It's just not an easy defense. Gust is there as well, but level 20s are there for protectors, as Lefine Keep will be able to hold on to their top lane keep for now. Now Sound 51 in the meanwhile just used Brush Stalker to get into this bottom lane, and we'll be able to get a little bit more poke damage onto the bot lane keep. Not going to be able to get the kill though, so it will just get that little bit of damage. But now the boss is getting started, and they have their level 20s. Lefine Keep still missing Trad for 2 more seconds. And honestly, this could be an angle for them to try and end the game. This could be an angle for them to just push forward aggressively, because right now they are behind in the structures. And Sky Temple, it's one of those maps where you have to play aggressively when you do get behind. And there it is, the first pause of today. As it does appear there was a DC. Not sure how long it's going to be. I don't see any of the players missing, so I'm just going to hold out for now. Not going to start the music quite yet, but close game so far. And with this boss, could be an opportunity for protectors to really play forward, really play aggressively. But the entire side of Lefine Keep is available. They're at around halfway to level 20. So we're just going to have to see how it goes. Okay, it does look like it's taking at least some time. So, and as soon as I start the music, they're ready. So I hope you enjoyed those 4 bars, because that was a ton of fun. Oops, I forgot to pause it. There we go. Are we starting? No, we're not. Now they actually DC'd. Yeah, these players just baiting me. You know how it is. Okay, let's have some more bars. Wait, it looks like the issue is on the Hanzo for protectors. So a bit of a shame, because they're actually having some pretty good momentum right now. They had that massive team fight. They managed to take control of 2 of the temples, and now they just took boss. They will definitely be able to get some push on the bot. They most likely will be able to get the keep. But yeah, I'll just take this time to kind of talk a bit more about the move and what to expect with these casts, at least for the next little while. I assume it will be at least a couple weeks until I can get back into like my normal rhythm, at which point we'll be like halfway into playoffs, granted, but I'll definitely be good for the playoffs. But there's definitely been a couple issues. The apartment that I got is supposed to have been fully cleaned. I got there, it was definitely not fully cleaned. And I was supposed to take this week off work, but there was a mandatory training, because I totally realized never set the music to actually be quiet. So I'm not even sure if you heard any of that, but I'm just going to pretend like you did. But yeah, but there was a mandatory training that took a few, that I couldn't miss. So I couldn't take the week off, which was a little bit unfortunate. So I am a little bit more behind on the stuff I wanted, as it looks like we are getting started right back into the game. They've already done the count. As they're trying to pause and unpause. Oh, that's unfortunate. Well, hopefully they don't need to pause again, because they did just use like 4 pauses on that one pause. And now the boss is going to be coming through in this bot lane. Protectors of Aiur, they have a very, very good shot at threatening the end of the game. But Lefine Keep very close to level 20 now, about a 5th of a level. But there's really nowhere for them to collect it except for that passive experience and whatever they can get in this bot lane. And now the boss already going to get taken down to about 2/3 HP, down a half. Shockray over the top, and now the Blessed Shield does come through. Dragon Arrow landing on 3, but the Soothing Mist will be able to buy quite a bit of space. But they are still pushing level 20s. Still not there for Lefine Keep, as now the Sound gets rooted up, gets taken down quite low. Drag is there as well. And now with the Wind Wall, just keeping the rest of the team away. They have the taunt, and they're going to be able to take down Ecliptic. And now they have to run away. They haven't gotten any damage onto the core. Sergeant Scoops going to be the next target and will get taken down. But with the isolation on Rebirth and Trad, and with that totem, they're not going to be able to get any other play going forward. But that's still bot lane keep going in favor of Protectors of Aiur. But they lost a decent amount of health on their mid lane keep for it. And it looks like Lefine Keep, they want to pressure this in. They might be looking to threaten the end of the game themselves. It is that 3v5 opportunity. At the very least, it looks like they want to take this down as Pina Colada taking so much poke damage. Already 80 stacks. The stun, the drag is going to be there for Trad. Trad looking towards Pina Colada, but not going to be able to find it. And they will be able to take down this mid lane keep, but I don't think they'll be able to continue threatening the end of that game. Rebirth and Trad do get taken down a little bit low. Scattershot just going to dismount Rebirth, but they're looking to steal the Bruiser camp anyway. And I think this is definitely going to be a good opportunity for them to retake control over this top side. They do have the temple. Now, this wall is still decently healthy, so I don't know if this temple fully finishes the top lane, but it's definitely something that they can get started on. As Elegaya is going to reset, a little bit low on mana. Has the flight available, though. Now the Bruiser camp is going to get cleared away. They're just going to leave it for now. As Ecliptic just going to be scouting out the bushes. Spots out Trad. And the Sound 51 pushing into the bot lane. Could threaten to end at any moment there. And if they're able to prevent the resets, could in theory end. But not a huge... not a huge wave is helping out. The Sound does have the siege camp. And Dahaka alone can't really deal too much damage. Just now Rebirth getting poked down a little bit by Pina Colada. Same with the scatter shots. But they did have to give up control over this top side. Mezzos will retake it and will start DPSing as now they're looking forward. The Sound 51 is going to be here as well. Came in with the Brush Dog Thundering. Splits up the fight. Dragon Arrow misses. Wind Tunnel. Mezzos now has the Archon. Just dealing damage. Ecliptic going to be their first target, but the Ancestral Healing Part 1 is there. Ancestral Healing Part 2. Gonna keep Ecliptic alive. And now Rebirth and Trad both starting to get low. Malthic's trying to keep everyone alive as Ide gets taken to 100 HP as well. And somehow no one goes down in that. And actually the keep 30 HP on that top lane keep left alive for protections of Aiur. But I think that if that Fine keep, they stayed for that extra shot, sure they'd get the keep, but I think they lose that team fight. And it looks bad for them. Could definitely be an opportunity to end as the Ecliptic gonna get dismounted. And Ide getting poked down so hard. 96 stacks now on that Gathering Storm. Elegaya just going to jump forward. They have the drag, and it is going to be onto that big target. But Malthix is going to be able to jump away. But Rebirth would be the new target. Shockray dealing so much damage, but it doesn't matter. Blessed Shield lands onto 3. Ecliptic still going to be the target. But again, it's the Joanna. But Sergeant Scoops gets taken down super low. But Trad can't follow it up. Now Windwall going to prevent Trad from going down for now. It is just going to be the 1-for-0 as the Shockray just constantly coming out over to the top, dealing so much damage. Big wave in the mid lane, by the way. 4 cannons strong, but they're looking for the top lane keep. And Protectors of Aiur, they're going to be able to get it. They have the Dragon Arrow to the backline. Malthic's going to get taken down low, but will be fine. As now, again, the poke damage just coming through from Elegaya and Mezzos. Going to keep them off the end of the game. And they are going to be taking a little bit of damage to their keep during that. 86%. And when it comes to 86%, on this map, that genuinely matters a lot because every single time the temples do come through, it is going to be striking that shield first. So having any kind of damage at all on the core means that you just need that much less hits from the temples. But now the boss is going to respawn. It is 5v5 on the map. Both sides at 2 keeps. However, this top lane keep is kind of... I wouldn't say it's fake because the pressure that's coming out from that top lane keep still being alive is very, very much real. But if they ever manage to get close to it at all, if they get even one charge off the Crocodile Temple, I didn't even realize they have names, we'll definitely be able to take it down. But now they're starting on the boss. Let's get rid of this overlay. Let's get ready for this fight. But it doesn't look like Lifine keeps. They're looking for this fight at all. It looks like they're just looking for the temples. They want to just end the game here. And now the boss is going to be pushing, but the boss is going to take time before they manage to get it anywhere. Dragon Arrow is going to land. Blessed Shield as well. And so much damage. Now Windwall just keeping everyone away. And Ide may have walked up a little bit too far. Trad in the middle of everyone. Ide going to be the first to go down. And now they're still fighting. Rebirth starting to get low. Ancestral Healing on Ecliptic Part 1. And now Ancestral Healing Part 2. Rebirth still alive, still tanking up, still keeping everyone low. And now they're able to take down one. Mezzos is the last carry alive. Shockray over top. Ecliptic will go down. Rebirth somehow still alive. Pina Colada goes down. And they just need a couple more hits. And I think even with the boss, even with the top lane, not going to matter. The final few hits are going to come through. And Lefine keep, they get the 2-0 domination, and they win first place in Division B East. And that's such an important win. Such an important win for Lefty and Équipe. They're going to be in such a good spot now. They are guaranteed first place Div B East. I said it at the end of the game, but I'm going to say that again. This is a monumental win for them. This is going to put them in a really good spot, and huge congratulations over to them. Now I'm going to take the time to look for the interview. We'll see if either of them do arrive, as I do need to get that set up as well. I believe my new system should have it so that the Discord gets picked up no matter what channel it is, but we'll see. Haven't actually had a chance to test it yet. Man, that was a really, really close game too, but I mean, Protectors, they really put up a fight today. Game 1, they had the lead for a good solid chunk on that in that game 1 until, you know, Lefty and Équipe were just able to come out on top. Hello, hello.
Hello.
Well, for everyone in chat, I am joined here by the captain of Lefty and Équipe, Mezzos. So, with that, you win 2-0. You get the domination, and you are now the champion of Division B East for the regular season. And how does that feel?
It sounds pretty good. It's quite fun. It's our second season playing together, and it feels like we got the groove together.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely seems that way. There was a bit of a hiccup over at the start of game number 1, but outside of that, it seems like all the games have been mostly under your control.
Oh, I wouldn't say so. It got sweaty a few times during both games, as we were saying with the rest of the team. Yes, we did one, but both games were super close. Like we were an inch away of losing both.
Yeah, but in the end, you were able to overcome that. Now, you said there was a lot of, I wouldn't say outside pressure, but just that internal pressure, that internal stress because the games were so close. How do you as a team deal with that?
I think we handled it pretty well, actually. When like we're 2 or 3 down, we usually analyze what went wrong, and we try to change the way we're playing the game. We're like, say, all right, the AK is flanking us, let's try to peel him more. All right, and then we go back to it. So like learning from our mistakes really helps with stress managing.
All right. And then, so for both those games, you also took first pick instead of the map pick. Now, is that because you feel first pick is just stronger than map pick, or is it because you don't really care what map, you're just kind of ready for anything?
Actually, we usually go for map pick. I think it's the first time we actually go for first pick. So it's just how we wanted to ban and first picked. That was the strats there, but usually we prefer to go on the maps that we feel comfortable. And when we do map picks, usually we go on Dragonshire. So we're quite happy that they picked Dragonshire as we had first pick, because we would have gone there anyway.
All right. Well, that's good. But so one other thing I really wanted to ask about, because whether this is lucky or unlucky, I'm going to leave this up to you, but because Daddy Sham's Cat Lounge withdrew, you don't have a game next week before the playoffs. Now, do you think that's going to hurt your momentum, or do you think that break is going to be beneficial?
I think that break's going to be beneficial, really. For some of us, 10 o'clock p.m. is quite late, so I think some time to rest, because we work early in the morning. It's actually quite good, so I think that's going to be good for us.
Okay, and then I'm also looking over at the division, and I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm not. But you're going to be matched up for your Week 1 playoffs against either CM Daybreak, Frank's Furders, or Fundamentals. Do you have a preference between those 3 teams who you'd like to play?
Not really. I think the three teams are quite fun to play against. But if we're going for fun, I'm going to say Fundamentals.
All right. Just because of the name or because of the team?
Because of the name.
Perfect. I had a feeling. Well, with that, just one final question. Is there anything you'd like to say to your fans out there? Any shout-outs you'd like to give?
Ben oui! Let's go, tous les Québécois! Venez jouer à Heroes of the Storm, ça va être incroyable. C'est la place à être dans le Nexus. Là. Arrêtez d'écouter des affaires en anglais, là, puis venez jouer en français à Heroes of the Storm. Vous allez voir, ça va être incroyable. Also, shout out to all the casters, really, that's making this experience even more fun. There are some replay casts that are super fun too, and live casts like you. It really makes a difference for the whole ambience in NGS. So, shout out to all of you, ladies and gents.
All right. Well, thank you for that. And I don't know. There aren't that many French casts though, so it's not like our fault.
Correct.
Yeah. Peut-être que je pourrais essayer la prochaine année si vous gagnez.
Oui, s'il vous plaît.
I haven't spoken French in like years though, so no promise on quality, but I'll give it a go maybe one day.
We need to bring the French back to the Nexus.
Yeah, exactly. But either way, thanks for coming. Congratulations on first place.
Thank you.
And I'll see you in the playoffs. You have a good night.
Hey, same for you.
All right. And with that, we are going to be having a second series in about 55 minutes, but it's time for everyone's favorite, what do we call it? Sponsored content. We're going to be playing a little bit of Legend of Mushroom. Now, if you don't care for sponsored content, but I have to because of my obligations. I don't even lie about this stuff anymore. I don't think the sponsors themselves care too much. I like the game, just hard on stream. But there's multiple games going on right now. Gyarados King currently casting Division D. Cats on my keyboard versus Pepegas on Ice, casted by Raka. And Peldor currently casting Division E Rage versus CCS. So if you want to catch any of those games, take a look. Look over in the Hype channel. Look over in the Events channel at NGS. But I'm going to go to a short break, and when I come back, going to be playing some Legend of Mushroom. So if you're not going to stick around for that, be sure to come back later for game number 2. See y'all in a bit.